Okay, so welcome to my talk about BAN 1.0. So as a lot of you probably already noticed, there's a new kit on a blog called BAN. There's a huge hype around it. So I tried it out, and I'm here to give you an overview of my thoughts that I have so far from using BAN. So just for a start, I will give a brief overview of JavaScript ecosystem that we have these days. So JavaScript runs everywhere. Like we use it in browsers, we use it on the servers, we use it for desktop apps. I've even seen a guy using it to compile assembly for like old Playboys, and he was using TypeScript to write assembly in it. So it's literally everywhere. Which, as Jeff Edward famously said, any application that can be written in JavaScript will eventually be written in JavaScript. And this seems to be another Moore's law of computer science. Everything is being written in JavaScript these days, which leads us to, as some people would say, vibrant ecosystem. So NPM, as I checked today, has 2 million packages, which is good or bad, depending on who you ask. Which can cause a lot of issues with it. So there's these days, I'm not sure if you feel the same way, but a lot of people are experiencing like a JavaScript burnout, right? Like at one point every month there was a new JavaScript framework. The stuff that today juniors are learning, like it's usually less than 5 years old. And if there's some framework that's more than 5 years old, probably like half of the developers probably never heard about it. So there's a lot of problems with it. So we need to learn a lot of new things. We need to combine a lot of things to work together. And the ecosystem is changing very rapidly, which is awesome. I think that's why we all love JavaScript ecosystem, because there's the problem solving there is really enormous. But it can lead easily to burnout, and there's no chance that you can catch up with everything you need to know to start writing, a good app. So as an example, like these days, to have really good projects set up, what do you need to know? So first, you need some compilation, some just build tools. So the older probably all relied on Webpack, Babel. Then came stuff like Snowpack, Rollup. These days we have TurboPack, which moves to Rust from JavaScript just to build it faster. Then came things like VTlong to kind of make everything simpler to deal with performance issues that arise from building everything in JavaScript. Then we have the transpilation tool like SVC or ESBuild came along to make transpilation of TypeScript faster, not just TypeScript, but also JSX, stuff like that. And I can talk here on this slide for like an hour about all of these technologies, but you see where I'm going, right? We have a lot of tooling. We have a lot of different tooling. Like I guess everyone who tried to maintain some setup for a few years can feel the pain of updating dependencies and kind of trying to configure monorepos where you want different test runners that are compiled to TypeScript, and it should just work. It's quite painful. And then you actually start choosing your framework. All of these technologies I mentioned weren't even the code you will write. There's just tooling to get the code you write to the production. So then there's this whole discussion. Okay, so which framework is the best right now? Let's not even go there. So this, sometimes we can feel we are not even a black hole. We are slaves of our node module ecosystem. So with all the good that comes in the JavaScript ecosystem, there's a lot of bad happening too. And this is JavaScript. So then there's this now famous issue of Jared Sumner. He filed this one issue for Node. FS promises read file is 40% slower than FS read file, which annoyed him quite a lot. And he didn't get a good explanation or good solution from the Node team. So, as you normally do, he he was thinking, yeah, like we have a lot of JavaScript libraries. We have a lot of frameworks to choose from, but you know what we're missing? We need more runtimes to choose from. So the day he decided to create his own new JavaScript runtime to solve a lot of issues he's seen and experienced in the community. And that's after 3 years now, it's where we are. So a few weeks ago, I think it is, no, not even month, the Ban 1.0 came along after, I think it was like a year and a half, 2 years of development. He got it production ready. Well, we'll see if it's production ready, but that's the marketing at least. So what Ban promises? So Ban promises to be all in one toolkit. So Ban's goals is simple, to quote the owners. It should eliminate slowness and complexity without throwing away everything that's great about JavaScript. Your favorite libraries and frameworks should still work, and you shouldn't need to unlearn the conventions you're familiar with. You will, however, need to unlearn the many tools that Ban makes unnecessary. So it sounds good, right? So what that means? So Ban is supposed to be a fast runtime, or Bantime, a trademark. It doesn't use V8 like Node does. It uses JavaScript core, so that's basically WebKit's / Safari engine. All the low-level code besides that is written in Zig. Not sure if you've heard about that language. Quite a cool thing. You can check it out. And it should work in the Chrome ecosystem. So it's compatible with Node modules, NPM, all of this stuff we like or sometimes hate. It should also provide web APIs. So, for example, those who are waiting for like, was it 8 years, 9 years to be able to use fetch in Node, you can use fetch in Ban. You can use URL. You can use every API you're used to from the browser. And it also has included watch mode and hot reloading, which is a really nice step up from Node, which since I think version 18 has also watch mode. But right now you don't even need to reload the process. You can just reload parts of the modules you're updating. So for those who always struggled using something like NodeMon or TS Watch or TS Node in combination with other tools, forget about it. This just works. And it's also a new package manager. So should be fast, should have compatible API with NPM. It has workspaces, so monorepos should work out of the box. And how fast they're kind of marketing it to be is that it should be 17 times faster than PNPM, and 29 times faster than NPM, and 33 times faster than Yarn, which is a lot. So we'll see how they will do. It should also be transpiler, and to be honest, for me, this is the kind of biggest plus of Ban so far, and the biggest positive thing that got my attention. As you can see, like, it doesn't care if you have JS files, JSX files, TSX, or NJS or CJS or whatever is the new extension that you need. It will just work. So you don't need any compilation step. It will transpile all the TypeScript and all the other, or even JSX for you, and that it will just run. So in comparison to, so when you want to start your index file, in comparison to ESBuild, it should be a lot. Like you can see the differences here, right? Like it's supposed to be way faster. Another kind of huge selling point of Ban is ES modules and CommonJS interoperability. So forget about defining different module types, using different extensions, using, like, do you use type or your package.json, or do you use main, or do you use exports fields? What if you have shared package that should run both in CommonJS and in ESM? Forget about all of that. It just works. And the great thing is it works even in a single file. So here in the examples, you can see, like, you have import, like ES6 import, and you have require, and it just works. Also, if you have asynchronous imports, again, they will just work here. And it's also a bundler, so you should forget about Webpack, TurboPack, Parcel, or whatever. This can bundle your front-end code, with really nice APIs. It works out of there's a CLI version, or there's just normal imported exported version of the build tool. So very easy to use with. To be honest, I didn't play with this much, but it's really nice addition. Then it has test runner, all the usual stuff you're used to with Jest or vtest. The difference here is that all the servers are not actually written in JavaScript, and this is kind of general thing about BAN. Nothing like in comparison with Node, which has a lot of its APIs implemented in JavaScript itself. Nothing is in BAN is actually implemented in JavaScript. All the code you see here is actually be it some C++ library or Zig custom code written to be executed. And JavaScript is just high-level API for that. And also it comes with few handy new APIs. So for example, here you can see example of SQLite. So there's SQLite module in BAN runtime. So if you need to spin up, if you don't want to spin up Postgres somewhere or some other database, and you need a little bit of SQL, you can just ask it to create it for you, and it just works. It's supposed to be fast. I don't know. We'll see. Then there's example of WebSocket server that comes with BAN. I tried this one myself. It looks very nice. So basically what it does is, in the example here, you can see you have just BAN serve where you configure it. You have some DI kind of system in place. And here you just register some callback, which is run when a TCP connection is started. You can use API URL to parse that URL and then match it, the usual stuff. And then you can upgrade it to a WebSocket connection. So if you call server upgrade, you can inject some data in there, which will be scoped per request. So this is basically the injected type defined in the top. And then you have WebSocket handles, usual stuff on open, on message, on close. What is really nice, it also comes with PubSub system included. So basically, you don't need Socket.io to implement rooms and stuff like that. You have PubSub that's actually exported from C++. I think they use micro WebSocket library. It's marketed as one of the fastest C++ libraries for WebSocket these days, and this is just interface in JavaScript to use that C++ library. And then there's other things like FFI is super easy in BAN. So if you want to use some code that is actually not written in JavaScript, so for example here you have Rust function that's exported, compiled. And then you can use the BAN FFI module to just simply, import it, define the interface, and then you can use it. So that's for those who also like other languages than JavaScript. Also, it comes with macros, but let's not talk about macros. We all know where it can end. So I hope no one will ever use macros in JavaScript. We already have a lot of troubles without it. So let's just go on and forget we have macros. So those are this creates a lot of very high expectations, right? So what's the actual reality? So what I decided to do to test how it works, I did a bunch of measurements to really see how it works, to see how it feels to work with BAN and stuff like that. So I, got Ubuntu small machine, 1 GB, 1 CPU in Frankfurt. And I ran a lot of different benchmarks using artillery tool for performance benchmarking, and it's then I compared Node v20.7 versus the latest BAN that is right now. So as a first benchmark, I use just simple hello world. So basically here is just old Express server with one endpoint that just returns hello world. And I basically ran it in 3 versions, using Node, using BAN, and using BAN native APIs. So on the right, there's a slightly different version written in BAN APIs, just to compare how it performs. And for the results, so just a quick explanation of the different metrics here. So on the left, we have a table. P50 means 50th percentile. So all the so 50% of requests were this fast or faster, and then it goes 75, 90. So basically, this you can think about. Most of requests have this metric. It's all in milliseconds. Then 25%, like 75% has at least this metric, and vice versa. To compare, you can see that the Node version has some value, some absolute value. Bun using the same code is roughly 20% faster in most cases. And then we have native APIs that are 60, 70-ish% faster, which is really nice. And also another interesting thing here is on this diagram here, on this graph, you can see all the comparisons in different percentiles. So you can see for the node really starts to drop few of the requests. So most requests are handled fine, but some of them, they just drop. And in this graph, you can see errors. So you can see node has the most dropped packets. You can see Bun is performing quite well, not that bad, but it's just a simple hello world, right? So who cares about such an example? So then we have a benchmark for file system. So here we get a simple handler. We just create a random file. We write some static content in there. Then we read it. Then we destroy the file, and then we send the text back. So again, we have an Express version. Then we have the Bun native API version. You can see interesting idea or interesting thing to notice here is you can see that we call Bun file, and it's not asynchronous. Then we wait only when we get text. So Bun, how it handles files is they handle it lazily. So when you first get a handle to some file, but you open it and process the content only when you call the processing method. So here we want to get text, so we await text. So this is kind of nice API detail, but quite handy. So for here, we can see kind of similar results like for the first one. So Node has some reference value. Bun is 20% faster roughly. But here for the Bun native APIs, we see almost twice the difference. So it's 2 times faster than the Node version. Again, kind of similar behavior, trending to dropping some packets in the 99th percentile and so on. So the Node doesn't really have uniform performance all the time. Then we have another thing. So, we are web developers. Most of the web development, like the CPU time spent in the web servers is just parsing JSONs. So how good is Bun in parsing JSONs? So here we don't have any Bun special APIs. This is mostly not even Bun. This is just Safari's JavaScript core engine. But again, we see a slight 30% here, 35% better performance than Node. And same behavior towards the tail of the data. Okay, and then because we are all JavaScript developers and we love our array methods, which kill our hardware, so let's take some very long array and just map, filter, and reduce it and see what happens, right? Well, let's do some very CPU intensive work, which isn't Node's strongest suit. It is not supposed to be its strongest suit, but sometimes we need to do it. And here is, at least for me, it was the most surprising result. Bun destroyed Node, and I ran this test 5 times just to make sure because I didn't really believe it. But Bun outperformed Node here 7 to 8 times, even for long-running tasks. So all of these tests weren't run, just for a few seconds. They were the server was warmed, so all the garbage collection kicks in and all of that crazy stuff. So this is performance over 10 minutes of testing. And we see that, yeah, Bun really kicks in for CPU intensive work. Also, you shouldn't just believe me. I double checked also some some other results in the community, and I cherry picked the things that agree with me, so it all makes sense. But what you can see in the community is similar results. So, for example, here there's a link to an article, you can read it. There's a comparison of BAN versus Node.js for ABS Lambda functions. And the results were really similar. So BAN managed to come out ahead in measurable and significant ways for CPU-bound tasks. It was neck and neck for more simple and IO-bound tasks, meaning you're at a bare minimum unlikely to see a downgrade. So it's exactly what we are seeing in our tests. And here is a result of a guy testing server-side React rendering, which is also very relevant these days when you're using Next or similar frameworks. And here, again, we see similar result. So BAN was, in this example, was able to handle about 70%, 75% more requests per second than Node.js. Here we also have a comparison with Dino, which was also better than Node, but who cares about Dino? It's not compatible with Node.js, so we will not even consider that. And then another interesting result was, for example, here on Twitter, even you, for those who don't know, he's creator of Vue.js or VTest or Vite and all of the on many more other things. He tested BAN install, and he got quite so. Here, the marketing, if you remember, it was that it's that BAN is supposed to be like 20 times faster than PNPM and 30 times faster than Yarn. That's actually true in one very contrived case, but usually, like, yeah, it's a little bit faster, but who cares if it's like 30 or 500 milliseconds? We are not doing PNPM installs or NPM installs all the time. So it's faster, but not that much. So the results, it's faster. I would say in general for most of the things would be 1 to 2 times faster, which is not bad. It's actually pretty great. Like V8 and Node has 10 years or more than 10 years of development and optimization. But to be fair, all the marketing they did is very misleading, and it's quite overhyped. And yeah, but it works for them. That's just business. So what was my overall experience while working with BAN? So I really loved developer experience. Having TypeScript, just work out of the box is amazing. You don't need to configure anything. Like all my horror stories are always about configuring TypeScript with testing tools in monorepos, and here you just don't have this issue at all. There's watch out of the box that just works with TypeScript, works with transpilation. You don't get any race conditions. It's really nice. I think this is the biggest selling point of BAN, to be honest. But it's quite buggy. Like so for example, in the image here, you can see like this is one of the metrics I was measuring while doing the performance test. You can see total used memory, which is 25 megabytes out of total allocated memory. So somehow BAN is actually creating memory out of thin air. So great job, BAN. And there's a lot of like these small things that are not blocker for most of people, but when you encounter one of these, it's like super annoying. So for example, set timeout with 0 time is actually infinite loop. It works different. So in Node, this would create a task that it's put at the end of the current queue, but in BAN, it puts it into the front of the event loop queue. So basically, you get an infinite loop. Then, for example, workspace install, depending on from what part of the monorepo you're installing it, sometimes just breaks, and then you need to like delete the log file, and then it works. So a lot of these small bugs. And the ecosystem I encountered was quite immature. So, for example, I tried Elysia.js. It's some HTTP server that's written just on top of BAN native APIs. And I tried to run WebSocket server and Alicia server on the same port, and it was like I basically need to hack the whole thing to even work. And yeah, it needs some time. And there's not a lot of community support yet. But to be honest, I think from now on, I will use Bun as kind of default for all my pet projects because the development experience is just great. So is it production ready, right? So it's still new, like we shouldn't trust something that's a few months old. It doesn't run on Windows, but who cares, right? That's plus point, not minus point. It's not fully Node.js compatible yet. So for example, some not HTTPS, but HTTP2 APIs that are in Node aren't working in Bun yet. Some more low-level modules like dgram and stuff like that aren't also implemented yet. But also, since like last week, the decorators weren't working in TypeScript transpilation, so a lot of like my mainstream JavaScript frameworks like Nest.js or TypeORM didn't work, or even Effect.ts for those functional programming folks out there isn't working right now. There's some low-level issues there that just not compatible yet. So yeah, a lot of issues. I checked their GitHub. Right now they have almost like 2K open issues. Most of them, like half of them, are 3 weeks old. So they have a lot of work ahead of them. So should we ever use it? Like, what's the kind of background behind Bun? So I would say right now it's very risky. So it was mostly written by one guy. So here you can see all the contributions. So the main developer, Jared, he wrote like 98, 99% of the whole thing. So it's kind of a one-man show. The company called Oven behind Bun got like $7 million investment from some VC funding. So, they're business, but right now they don't really have any business plan. At least I didn't see any. Like, I'm not sure how they will make profit out of Bun. So, who knows if it's stable or not. But the hype is real. There's a lot of contribution. A lot of people are getting invested into Bun. There's a lot of new contributors. I checked yesterday, and for last version, there was like 30 new contributors. So people are really excited about Bun. So we'll see what will happen. And it's really also great to have a competition on Node. I'm not sure if you've seen all the tech Twitter buzz about. There was one tweet where someone complained that why is Node so slow, and it got like 2 million views on Twitter for tech, for tech world. It was quite crazy, and a lot of discussion around that. A lot of people getting angry. Quite a show. And so, can we actually use it in production? So I tried run our project's code base in it. And of course, I got a segmentation fault. So yeah, no, we cannot yet use it. But maybe soon, we'll see. So here, there are a few snippets. You can see like a new version is coming every week. A lot of things are getting fixed. So for example, in the latest version, it was yesterday, like Jared made all servers like 40% more memory efficient. And that's at least my impression right now. The core team is super motivated and they're really getting shit done. So I wish them good luck, and yeah, we'll see. Maybe soon Bun will be eligible alternative even in business environment. So that's it from me. So if there are any questions, right now is the time.